do you have PhD yourself?
I'm currently working on my PhD myself.
When you started to assist those PhD students, had you started with your PhD?
No. When I started assisting PhD students, I was still an honors student. Till today, I've got interest in such a wide range of things. If you talk about geography, if you talk about biology, if you talk about law, if you talk about psychology, if you talk about politics, if you talk about sports, if you talk about anything, I make sure I build interest and I build knowledge in every single one of those areas. You make it your deepest intention to improve yourself and to put yourself in a position where you are learning every day. You will learn and improve and develop regardless of whether you have a PhD or not.
Welcome to Pakana Media, and here we are sitting with Khuthalo Mavunga from
Monatomic Research.
Can you tell us about Monatomic Research? What is that?
So Monatomic Research is basically a research consultation company. So basically, what we do is, firstly, our first client base is students, preferably masters and PhD students. So basically, we offer mentoring, we offer coaching, we offer data analysis, we offer editing and proofreading for thesis and dissertations in general. But what we are expanding more into recently is we are expanding more into corporate research and into data science generally. So that's where we are expanding into.
Who are your clients? How do you help your clients?
Like I said, firstly, coaching, mentoring, consulting. So whatever issue they have with their thesis, with their research, they bring it to me and I look at what they have, I look at their proposals, I give advice on what they need to do, I train and coach them in what they need to do. If there's need for me to offer services such as data analysis and proofreading, I would be able to do that. So for both qualitative and quantitative research.
When did you start doing this?
It's difficult for me to say when did I start, because this was not supposed to even be a business. When I was doing my honors, PhD students who were struggling would come and ask me for help, even when I was still doing my honors.
Wow.
They would come and say, no, look, man, hey, there's this issue, man. I heard somebody said you helped. Because where I started is I would help my own classmates. Just to say, oh, okay, no, look, not even necessarily classmates, but people I know, people close to me. If one of them was struggling, I would say, no, look, this is what you do. This is how you need to overcome this. And they would move out from there and tell somebody, oh, no, this person helped me with this issue. And the person would come to me. And strangely enough, one day somebody that was a PhD student came to me and asked for help on something that I had helped somebody who was at my level, who was at honors level. And I did help them. And I guess because of that, my name grew, and few people began to know me. Few people began to ask me, hey man, look, I'm struggling with this. Hey, look, I'm struggling with this. And then after that, it just continued like that. But I didn't start with research consulting. I started mostly with data analysis. So people would give me their quantitative data and I would throw it into like SPSS or R, and I would process it and give them results. But as that went on, people began to know about me, and then the company began to grow, and I eventually realized, no, I can't offer this service for free.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was doing it for free, because I was just helping you out.
Yes.
You are somebody I know, you need something, I'm just happy. And it soon began to be a business. So I think it began to be a business around around late 2015, I believe. 2016, I believe. But I had begun doing it around 2013. That's when I had basically begun to help a few people. So, yeah.
Yeah, I heard you saying you assist PhD students. Do you have PhD yourself?
I'm currently working on my PhD myself. So I've done 2 years on my PhD. I first registered my PhD in 2019. Then 2020 was the COVID year. I did not register. 2021 I registered again. 2022 and 2023 I did not register. I'm planning to register again to finish in 2024. So I am at PhD level, if you want to put it that way.
But when you started to assist those students, and you started with your PhD yourself, when you started to assist those PhD students, had you started with your PhD?
No. When I started assisting PhD students, I was still an honors student.
Yeah,
I was still an honors student, sorry.
Yeah, this is where to me is very, very interesting. How possible is it that an honors student can assist a PhD student with their thesis and all those things? Yeah, for someone like me, it's very, very interesting.
Well, the issue becomes that if you know, like what I spoke about on the previous episode we had, knowledge is free and it's not limited, especially in the internet age.
Yeah, so for those who have not yet watched our previous video, please go and watch, and then you will get some more information of what he's trying to say right now. Okay, you can continue.
Thank you. So, like I said, knowledge is not limited. If you make it your deepest intention to improve yourself and to put yourself in a position where you are learning every day, you will learn and improve and develop regardless of whether you have a PhD or not. And whether you have a PhD or not, if you don't learn, you will regress, because we are progressing forward.
Yeah.
You will go back while we are going forward. So no matter who you are, if you've got a PhD, if you are not developing yourself, if it's not a daily aim for you that I want to improve myself, I want to improve my knowledge. Remember, knowledge gets outdated. So even with the knowledge that you have, you need to keep, especially in the area of research, you need to keep updated with what is present and what is happening now. Something that I always like to say, learning is a perishable skill.
Okay.
There are people that, in fact, let me put it this way: if you don't make it your aim to keep learning every single day, you will lose the ability to learn. Okay. You will weaken your ability to learn, and you will weaken your will to learn. So you need to wake up every day with the mindset of I want to learn something. Otherwise, if you spend a very long time without learning, it will become a problem to you. So the reason I say learning is a perishable skill, I usually talk to maybe people who are older, maybe people who are your generation, and I tell them, look, man, why don't you've got your degree, yes, you are working, but why don't you try and get your honors? Or if they have their honors, why don't you try to get your masters? You know what they always say to me?
Yeah.
No, I'm too old. My brains cannot catch all of this knowledge. I'm lazy to learn. So that's why I keep saying learning is a perishable skill. And once you stop learning, it's very difficult to get back.
Yes.
But all the people that never stopped learning, even at the age of 70, they can start a new PhD. They can start a new master's degree.
That is true.
Because they never stopped all their life.
Yeah.
They kept learning. So if you stop learning, then that's when you will realize learning is a perishable skill. The more you stop learning, the more your ability to learn decreases. So that's what I always applied. I learned about everything, and I didn't know why I had interest in such a wide range of things, till today, I've got interest in such a wide range of things. If you talk about geography, if you talk about biology, if you talk about law, if you talk about psychology, if you talk about politics, if you talk about sports, if you talk about anything, I make sure I build interest and I build knowledge in every single one of those areas. So yeah, that is what.
Yeah, and then those students that you assisted with their PhD and everything, are they others who have completed their studies?
Yes, look, I've been doing this for a very long time now, maybe close to 8-9 years. So there are many students that I know I have mentored and coached that have successfully completed their master's degrees and their PhD degrees. So yeah.
So when do you hope to complete yours?
I hope to complete mine this year in 2024. I need to complete mine in 2024.
Wow, that will be great. Yeah. Yes, Kote. Yeah, now tell me. You were telling me in the backgrounds that you help students who are doing different courses. Others will be doing computer science, others will be doing accounting, and yet you are able to help all of them. How do you manage to do that? I mean, it's not like you specialize in all those courses, yet you are able to assist each and everyone who comes along. How do you do that? Where do you get the knowledge for accounting, do the research for biology? If someone needs that assistance, someone is coming with accounting or computer science and all those things. How do you do that?
Okay, so I think there is two elements to it. I have a thorough knowledge of research methodologies and research designs. I made sure I understood different research designs. Regardless of what research design you bring me, I will be able to deal with it because I've probably dealt with it before. I've probably had a client that came to me with that research design before. It was not like that in the beginning because the more I've had to work with clients, the more I have seen. Okay, so one client will come to me and they want their study. It's a design research type of methodology. For me, that was not something that I had learned before, but now I am forced to learn it because this client is coming with this need. So I'm forced to learn it and I'm forced to study it and I'm forced to understand what that will require of me because I want to do it. Once I have learned, I am learning for the future as well. So learning, here is one principle that people should know. Learning is always an investment. Mm-hmm. So when I tell myself I am learning to be able to help you, I'm not just helping you. That knowledge is going to help me in my business for many years. So I will take the time to invest. But number two, the reason why I can go into accounting, computer science, psychology, politics, law, social work, whatever, public health, nursing. The reason why I can go into all of these things is partly because I have built a knowledge basis in so many areas. Okay. I don't allow myself to be limited to the scope of knowledge that is prescribed for me in my studies or in my course or whatever it is. I'll tell you a story, which is one of the stories that made me the way that I am. If you read in the Bible, it tells you about Moses in the book of Acts when Paul was basically, I can't remember which church he was preaching to, but when he was telling them about Paul, he says about Moses. He says, now Moses was skilled in all the sciences of the Egyptians. Now, if you read, I went into history because I'm a very keen history scholar. What were the sciences of the Egyptians? The Egyptians used to do alchemy, they used to mine, they used to farm, They were scientists, they were astrologers, they knew how the star systems operated, they knew how all of these things worked, they knew how the entire galaxy worked, they knew the stars, they understood all forms of science. Now it says Moses. That has always been my motto in life. That's what inspired me from the beginning. I said, wow, what kind of a guy was Moses? It says Moses was highly trained in all the sciences. And then number two, you need to also realize that, because that's how the pharaohs were trained. That made me question one of the things that I did when I was very young. I questioned the way education was done today, and I realized that it is very limiting. In fact, look at even some of the old scientists, like one of the people that really inspired me, say Isaac Newton. We know Newton for science work, but many people don't know that Isaac Newton was not just a scientist. He was also a very keen alchemist. He was also a very keen theologian. What people don't know is that but as I was saying, many people don't know that Isaac Newton wrote more books on theology. He produced more work on theology than he did in science, yet he's called the father of science. And even more than that, he wrote more work on alchemy than he did in science, but we call him a scientist, which shows you all of these guys did not allow themselves to be limited. Look at all these old scientists that we heard about, Galileo. I mean, when you read about him, none of them was one thing. They were all astronomers. They were painting, they were sculpting, they were scientists, they were biologists. They were all these things. I actually realized the form of education we have in our tertiary system that compartmentalizes education is very damaging and very detrimental. Eventually, it makes you ineffective in the real world. You can only be effective in that particular field. If you are a teacher, all you know is to teach that particular subject. All you know is to teach biology, and that's it. If I give you any other thing, you don't have a broad enough knowledge base for you to even be able to attempt it. So that's what inspired me. Reading about the story of Moses, reading about the Egyptian pharaohs, reading about Isaac Newton, reading about how wide their scope of knowledge was. And also as well, in my later years, I was very much inspired by Tesla as well, and how much he knew on different things. And that's when I realized that's when I took it upon myself. Look, I have to invest in knowledge, and I have to invest in knowing and understanding a wide variety of topics.
Who is Tesla, by the way? Just in short.
Tesla is possibly one of the most profound human minds that God gave us as a human being in terms of science. Now, the reason why we have all the things that we have, all the technology that we are running today, is some form of a spin-off from Tesla's work. And of course, those that were before Tesla, but Tesla really refined a lot of technologies like radio, which, I mean, if you talk about radio, that is what precedes Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and all of this wireless connectivity. So Tesla was one of the people that really made serious breakthrough in terms of wireless connectivity. So many things. In fact, the most basic and primary use of Tesla's work that we have is the type of electricity we have, which is we are today using what they call AC/DC electricity, form of electricity. Tesla is the one that brought us AC type electricity, which is alternate current, because before that, what was really being used a lot was what is called DC current electricity, which is direct current, which is what I forgot his name. What's the guy that invented the light bulb. I forgot his name now. How can I forget it? I was thinking about his name just now. But he is the one that came up with DC power, and Tesla actually helped him to fully make direct current more efficient. But he did not pay Tesla what Tesla had. He did not pay Tesla for the work that Tesla had done for him. So Tesla decided, to spite him, I will design another form of electricity, which is the AC, alternate current. So when Tesla successfully did that, they really tried a lot to put him down and to give AC electricity a very bad reputation. But that is where we are today. We are using AC DC power, basically. If you look at your chargers, below the charging point, they will show you AC DC over there. So that's where we are. The very electricity that we are using, Tesla has a lot of contribution in it. Radio itself, television itself, wireless connection. When Tesla began to speak about humans will be able to connect wirelessly in 1907, people thought he was ridiculous. People thought he was out of his mind.
Yeah.
Okay, people thought there's no way humans can, because Tesla was he was really one of the people that were pioneering radio and radio waves, and and he said, look, at some point in time, human beings would. Tesla literally predicted the future, not predict, but because he was so aware of where technology was going, Tesla was able to say, look guys, in a few years, human beings will be able to. He even spoke of a device that could be equated to be a phone today. He said human beings will soon be able to have one device which they can be able to communicate from far away distance and be able to hear each other. And to many people that sounded ridiculous. Now we actually have wireless charging. But Tesla in those days actually spoke that there is actually the possibility of developing a way where you could transfer electric charge through the atmosphere without a direct cable link. And everybody thought he was ridiculous. But eventually, all the way down, we now have it. And anyway, I don't want to go into into some of the conspiracies and some of the stuff I've read about electricity, because there's a lot of politics in electric research. As you know, I am a researcher and I've done a lot of electricity research as well. I've read the work of Eric Dollard, who for me, in fact, Eric Dollard is one of the few people that have successfully replicated most of Tesla's experiments. So yeah, Tesla was just a fantastic guy with all these technologies, and most importantly, he was very critical of Einstein, both directly and indirectly. He was very critical of Einstein's work, and he was very critical of the way of the move of the direction towards which science was moving. Tesla believed science should be experimental and results based. If you are saying you are a scientist, make something, do something, develop something that we could see the results. Tesla was very much against science being very deeply theoretical, like what you have. So he actually called Einstein's work on relativity scientific garb. Or you know what, science is just, we are going nowhere. We are changing experiments in science for theories and mathematical calculations which are based on nothing.
Yeah, if I may ask, do you perhaps do some lectures about all these researches that you do, or do you intend to do that in the future?
Yeah, I do intend to do that in the future, because I've not done so recently. But I really believe, I could. One of the areas I'm very passionate about is electricity. I wish we had more people that, if you, here is my advice, if you really want to understand the history of electricity, there is not a work, if you know a work that is more thorough, more precise, more scientifically accurate, no textbook you'll find is better than the work you will find by Eric Dollard on the history of electricity. Google the video, I believe the video is available on YouTube. He does a 3-hour lecture on the origins of electricity and the history of electricity, which is, I mean, one of the most awesome scientific lectures I've ever had. So, I mean, things like that, I'm very passionate about things like that, and at some point in time, I'm hoping I should do lectures.
I really hope so, that you must consider doing something like that. So, going back to your researches, how long does it take you, for instance, if someone comes to you today to say, would you please assist me with my PhD thesis on whatever? How long does it take you to do the research until you complete the work for him or her?
No, look, so at the end of the day, how long things are going to take will depend on the student themselves, on how fast they are willing to work, because I will be ready to help them in any way that I can. And my aim is always to get things done as quickly as possible, because it is more financially viable for me to actually do it. So that is my aim at the end of the day. So it's basically up to the student themselves. How much are they prepared to work? How much are they prepared to put themselves, to subject themselves to the pressure that I'll be putting on them by the work that I'll be showing them to do and how to do, and by the coaching and mentoring that I'll be giving.
But then also if they're willing to pay.
Yes, that is a very important that is a very important point. I always tell somebody, it's not that we like money, but
yeah, no, for sure.
Money is what we need to accomplish some of the goals that we need to accomplish. Okay, so money is very important because we need money, and of course, we are doing it for money because we do need the money, and that's the honest truth. There's no businessman who is doing. Of course, you are doing it because of passion, because you are driven by your passion. Of course, you are doing it because you are driven by the desire to help someone else.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, money is also part of it, because we need money.
No,
I need
definitely.
money to achieve my goals.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
And all these things you are doing it under monotonic. What is the name of it?
Monatomic
research.
Yes.
Where does the name come from?
Monatomic, when something is described as monatomic, that basically is a scientific term that refers to an atom that has the state of its electrons rearranged in how they move. So that changes how the atom behaves. So when you have what they call monatomic gold, if they take gold and rearrange the structure of the electrons around the gold atoms, gold becomes a white powder instead of a yellow solid substance. All right, so that's a lot of alchemy and yeah. So, but the issue is, what I was saying is, for me, the work that I'm doing is monatomic. Okay. So my slogan is orbitally rearranged. All right, because that's what monatomic elements are, and that's how they behave. So you could have a substance you are very familiar with, but when its electron structure has been rearranged, then it will behave differently. So what I was trying to say was, I will take what you have, I will take what you know, I will take the work that you are giving me, and I will rearrange it in a way that you yourself will not be able to recognize it because of the exceptional work that I would have done to it. So that's where the name came from.
And then how do people get hold of you if they need some assistance?
So right now, you can call me or WhatsApp me, 076 777 8384. That's a South African number. So if you are outside SA, +27 76 777 8384, or you can send me an email, khuthalo@gmail.com. Khuthalo, KHUTHALO @gmail.com.
Yeah, no, as you can see, his contact details down below. Please, if you need any assistance with your PhD, master's, honors, or anything like that, this is the guy who can really help you. He's a very intelligent young man. Okay, can you remind us again, what did you study at the university?
So my educational background initially, okay, so maybe it's part of my history, and it's part of what I need to, part of the reason why I have a very wide knowledge base. So my academic history was, maybe let's start with my history, with my achievements. So I'm a senior national top 50 history Olympiad recipient.
Okay.
I wrote in 2003, I believe, I wrote the senior history Olympiads when I was a junior. I was doing my grade 9.
Okay.
And the senior history Olympiads was for students in grade 10, 11, and 12.
Okay. What can you what is that?
So a history. So okay, they have all this what is called an Olympiad, which is like a national competition.
Okay.
So in that national competition, so they have maths Olympiad.
Okay.
So it's like a national competition where you write exams, and the top performers in all of those exams are gathered together and they compete again until you have one champion. So in 2003, I wrote my history Olympiads for seniors when I was a junior. I was supposed to write the history Olympiad that is written by grade 7, 8, and 9. But my dad was a very good history teacher, and he had a team of students that he was teaching. And when he had that team, he told me, no man, I've been teaching you history for a very long time. I've been talking to you about history. You've got a keen interest. You know how to read. Come and join my team. Even though they are seniors, they were in grade 12.
Yeah.
And the National History Olympiad is written across the country by seniors, grade 10, 11, 12. He said, no, but you can do it even if you are a junior. So I wrote it, and after I wrote it, I qualified. I went as far as reaching the national top 50 in the History Olympiads when I was a junior.
Okay.
So maybe perhaps you can trace where my love for history and all of those things come from. Then fast forward a few years later, after I graduated, I started off in vets. When I started off in vets, I studied for a BSc for a year, Bachelor of Science, and I was specializing in genetics. So I still have all of that knowledge in my mind because I had to do my calculus, I had to do my statistics, I had to do, which by the way is where my love for statistics, which I'm using today, and my love for data analysis comes from.
Okay.
It stemmed from that period of 2006-7 when I was in vet, when I was doing my BSc. So I had to do calculus, I had to do statistics, I had to do genetics, I had to do biology, I had to do physics as well. Unfortunately, I had to do physics as well. So part of the reason why I left that was because I was failing the physics. And anyway, I just felt like it wasn't for me. I continued with vet as well. I didn't complete, but I was doing an international relations degree as well. So I did history, politics, international relations, and economics. But then again, due to finances, I couldn't finish that because I was excelling in that, but vet was so expensive at that point in time. I didn't have a present. So anyway, I am saying all these things because I'm trying to show you that I've got a background in so many things.
Yeah.
And maybe perhaps that's part of why I know so many things, because I was in BSc, I was in science, I did a little bit of economics, I did history, I did politics, I did international relations, So in most recent years, I started my degree in 2010 at the University of Venda, which was a degree in psychology. So psychology was my first degree at that university, and I completed that in 2013 or 14. I can't remember exactly, but that's when I completed it. And after that, I did my master's in public health, in occupational and environmental health. That's what I specialized in. Okay. So yeah, that's basically my academic background. My PhD was in African studies, was in indigenous knowledge. I had branched off from public health to basically indigenous knowledge. But the point being, I was trying to show that even all the things I've done throughout my life is a reflection that I am a firm believer that we should not compartmentalize knowledge. We should, build ourselves in different knowledge bases. That's what allows us to be complete scholars. You can't say you are a scholar and all you know is psychology. You are a psychology scholar, but if you are a scholar, you need to have at least a base understanding of different things. What I find is mostly in my life, I am able to talk to anybody. If you bring me a pastor, I can talk to you. If you bring me a traditional healer, I can talk to you. If you bring me a Muslim, I'll talk to him. If you bring me a psychologist, I'll talk to him. If you bring me a scientist, I can talk to him. If you bring me anybody from any background, because at least I have a base. And for me, my conversation with that person becomes an attempt to increase my knowledge in that field. Okay. For me, if I'm talking to somebody who is a farmer, I'll be asking them questions about farming. What do you do here? When do you plant this? So for me, this is how I learn. That's how I learn. That's how I've always learned. I've learned with knowledge. What's important is that you need to build a base. Once you build a base, you can be able to expand upon it by meeting the people that have knowledge in that field. But have general conversational knowledge about every single thing that you can encounter, and then build upon it. You will become a more wholesome human being that can hold conversations with any single person. There are people who are so locked up in their fields that you can't take them anywhere with you, because if you are going to a gala dinner where there is accountants, they will be clueless, because all they know is psychology. They can't hold conversations with accountants, with scientists. They feel inadequate when they are around scientists because they know nothing about science. So I didn't want to be that kind of person. I wanted to be the kind of person that understood a wide variety of things.
Okay, no, thank you very much. What are your closing remarks? Just a minute or two.
Well,
about everything that we talked about.
Yeah, in closing, firstly about myself, about my company. Look, I am willing to help anybody that could contact me, and then we could take it from there. But generally, in terms of knowledge, I would say, you know what, diversify your knowledge portfolio, study, update your knowledge, know what's happening around the world, meet people, learn from people. But at the most important thing, remember the statement I made earlier. Learning is a perishable skill. If you don't keep on learning, you will lose the ability to learn. So we need to always learn, and that's what keeps us healthy, and that's what keeps us wholesome.
Thank you very much. Tungo for it and in the